Hi, my name is Jim Doyle, and I'll be your instructor for this course, JUS 101, Introduction to Criminal Justice. And I just want to spend just a couple of moments of your time just to go over Blackboard a little bit, um, and to also highlight my CJ Lab and some other things I think that you'll find useful as we begin our time together here. So basically at the very beginning in Blackboard we have our announcements. So you could take a look at this. One of the key things here that I want to bring to your attention is the Pearson's My Lab registration right here. And this is going to be our course ID. So this is the number you will need when you log into my CJ Lab. So please jot that down somewhere so you have access to it as you work on your assignments. All right, so again, just that's where you'll find that access code or the course ID for our particular course. Next thing on the announcements is my welcome, and during the week I will post different announcements here, so make sure when you log in you always check the announcements. Sometimes I will post something, it may just be in writing, other times I may use what I'm using now, and then other times it may just be a PowerPoint presentation where I talk about some of the key concepts that I hope that I want to help you understand a little bit better as we begin our time together. So the bottom line is please make sure you check your announcements at least once or twice a week so that you're updated on what we're doing here in the classroom. All right, so this is my little welcome, so you can take a look at that as you move along. I also mentioned the course ID here again so that you'll have access to that, all right? My contact information, I'll talk about that in a minute, but there's a little bit of a snafu that's been fixed. So my email address is j.doyle1@snhu.edu. So please make note of that. That's also been changed here under the information about your instructor. The other thing I want to point out that's important here is late assignments. So please make sure you read through this and understand what the policy is regarding late assignment and activities, all right? I think the key here for online courses, especially those that are as short as 8 weeks, is that we just need to communicate with each other. If you, for whatever reason, can't turn in something on time, please let me know. You can send me an email, you can call, you can text. If you do any of those things, just tell me who you are. So this is Jim Doyle from CJUS 101. I'm going to be late getting this assignment in because of whatever the situation is, okay? I understand that you're working adults, you have families, you have obligations, so please note that, and I will do everything I can to work with you, but we just need to make sure that we communicate with one another. All right, so read through this carefully so you have an understanding as to what the rules are regarding late assignments. And if you've been here at SNHU before, then you already are familiar with them, but it's always good just to refresh ourselves on what those policies are. Learning resources, we use a learning resource in this class. It's the My CJ Lab. So you can take a look at this little short video. It just talks about learning resources and how they'll help you better understanding the subject material. All right? So if we go to course information next, the key thing here that I want to point out is just our syllabus. So if you click on the course syllabus, it will come up and allow you to take a look. If you want to print it up, you most certainly can do so. Talks about our course outcomes, our required materials, so please make sure you read this carefully and get all the required materials needed for the course. So it's right here. So if you have any questions, obviously you can go to the online bookstore at MBS Direct, or if you have any questions, you can contact those folks and get the information that you need or any clarification. All right. My availability and response time, my goal is to get back to you within 24 hours. I understand that as working adults, many of us are busy during the work week, trying to squeeze our reading in and some other activities as well as our job and family responsibilities. And I know that oftentimes working adults tend to be more active on weekends. So you'll find me here on weekends. So please feel free anytime to give me a call Again, a text or email if you have an issue, a problem, a question, or you can go into the discussion board and I'll show you where you can ask and post questions, and my goal is to respond back to you within 24 hours. This is just our grade distribution. It tells you the activities we'll be doing, how many of them, their point value. Ultimately, they all add up to 1,000 points. So take a look at that and you'll have an understanding. Here's how the grades are broken down by the numerical equivalent. So for example, 93% to 100% is an A, and that tells you the points for GPA, so you can keep track of that. And here is the points equivalent. Since we're 1,000 points, it's pretty simple. If you have 930 points, you got 93%. So this, take a look at that. It's rather standard. The weekly schedule assignment. Now for this week, as part of the first week, assignments and discussion boards during the first week of class are due by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, so for this week only, please make sure you try to get your assignments to me by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Assignments and discussion posts for the remainder of the term are due by 11:59 p.m. your local time zone. All right, so just note that difference for the first week of the class that we have our time together. This is followed by topics and assignments, so you have a thumbnail sketch as to what's happening, what to do, those type of things in terms of our activities. So this week, for example, discussion thread has to do with 3 branches of the criminal justice system in which you will discuss. We have a MyLab activity simulation 1, the criminal justice system, and then of course we have the MyCJ Lab quiz for module 1, and then begin to take a look at our final project so you have an understanding as to what that's all about. And we'll go into a little bit more detail on that. But this just gives you a thumbnail sketch as to what we're doing. Again, the late assignment policy is here, but again, it's you can also highlight it here and make sure you just have a good understanding about that. So please read through the rest of this, which talks about diversity and disability statement and so forth, Disability Resource Center, anything like that, academic policy, which is important, so you can take a look at the full academic honesty policy as you have time. And you know, there's a few other things here that you can probably take a look at. All right, but the key points I think are the late policy, and especially for this week, when things are due for week number 1. All right, so take a look at that, please, when you have time. The assignment guidelines and rubrics, so this is really important. So as you begin to work on all of our assignments, we have a series of written assignments. Please make sure you're familiar with that. So here is the guidelines for milestone 1 and the rubric. So specifically, following the following critical elements must be addressed. So as you're working on this assignment, please make sure you address each of these critical elements so you can get maximum points for your effort. Tells you how it's to be presented. In some cases, it could be a slide, a PowerPoint presentation. Other cases, a 1 to 2-page paper. So please become familiar with what the requirements are and specifically what's needed for your assignment. And then just as important, here's the grading rubric. So this is what you're going to be evaluated upon. So please make sure as you're preparing and working on your papers that you take a few minutes and understand how you're going to be evaluated. All right? I think that's going to be important for you. Okay, so please take a look at that. This is going to be all the assignments will have a rubric, so take a look at that. All right, so let me move on next to learning modules, so you have an understanding of what the learning modules will be like. So overall, for example, the key thing here is purchase and register for Pearson MyLab, so that's going to be important because we deal with Pearson MyLab. So here's a MyLab course registration instructions and MBS directive, if you want the link there. So again, take a look at that. Coursework overview, you might want to print this out. This just provides you with what we're doing every single week and what assignments are scheduled. So gives you a good thumbnail sketch as to what your week's going to be like, so you can plan ahead. So module 1, for example, spend a little bit of time here. You have the module 1 overview. Module 1 overview is just going to be a thumbnail sketch as to what we'll be doing. So it's easy to read, so please go ahead and read that before you begin maybe reading the chapters and doing the assignments. So you have an idea as to what we're going to be talking about and where you might want to pay special attention is part of your reading process. It tells us what our reading and resources are for the week. So this week we have readings chapters 1 and 2, and then we have a couple of my CJ Lab activities scheduled for the week. One of the things you have this week is a discussion thread, the 3 branches of the criminal justice system. As you can see, there's a series of questions that you need to answer here. So how you do that is really up to you. But I found that sometimes if students break it down by question, they make sure they address each of the components for the assignment. Otherwise, I found that sometimes students forget to answer a specific question, and then they don't earn the maximum number of points that they potentially could. So it's up to you how you do it, but just please make sure that when you have questions such as this that ask a series of questions, that you make sure that you address each of the questions specifically. All right, so I can make sure I can find the answer to those questions somewhere in your discussion thread. All right, so this is basically what we're doing in week 1. So you can take a look at that as you have time. So that's where you'll find the discussion board activities. The My CJ Lab activity for this week is basically Simulation 1, the criminal justice system. So if we go over here to the My CJ Lab and you click on the My CJ Lab and you open it, let me just log in here real quick for you. I have a few minutes left. Give it a second. Okay, so this is us right here, CJUS 101. So if you click on that, it'll get us into the My Lab. And if you go over here to module assignments, simulations, and quizzes, if you click on that, for example, it will clearly show you what we're doing. So this week we have a lab activity, Simulation 1, the criminal justice system. If you click on Criminal Justice Interactive and Criminology Interactive, that'll take you to here, and then Criminal Justice Interactive, click on there. And that'll take you to our little scenario here. Each of these little icons represent a chapter. So chapter 1 goes right here. And so if you go on chapter 1, the criminal justice system, and you enter, if you go to learning modules, then you'll find the criminal justice system, and here are the activities right here. Right? So do a little exploring, have fun with that. Don't make it too complicated. It's a fun activities, and obviously the goal is to get you to learn as much as you can. So you have several chances to take these little activities that are there for us, okay? So that's how you're going to find in My CJ Lab. The last thing I just want to point out real quickly is the assignment guidelines and rubrics, which we already talked about, but again, it's here. So take a look at that. Be familiar with it, know what's expected of you, know what's expected of your work, and I think we'll all be fine. All right, so that's just a thumbnail sketch. You can take a look at my instructor, talks a bit about me, my email address, phone number, and my little welcome to you. So anyway, I just want to provide you with a little overview. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Blackboard or where things are found, it's sort of a thumbnail sketch, and some of the things I think are important for us to remember. And so that's it. So I look forward to interacting with each of you in the weeks to come. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to contact me anytime. Just send me, again, a voicemail, a text, whatever, email, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If it's important, by all means, feel free to use the telephone, text. I'm not shy about that. All right? All right. Thank you so much, and I will be speaking with you all soon. Thank you.